Hello, YouTube. How's it going? What did you do today? Happy Friday. Not today. This week was a long ass week, and I am so excited for the weekend. And what are we doing? We're going to go to the movies. We have lots of errands to do. We have hockey to watch. And I'm really, really excited. What are you doing on the weekend? Has anyone been following the Toronto Maple Leafs Riley suspension where a young Ottawa Senators player slapshot the puck into an empty net at the very, very end of the game, and then the Leafs defender like cross-checked him in the face, and then he got 5 games, I think, and everyone's like, oh, "How dare you? It was justified to react." I'm like, "Sure, but maybe don't slash cross-check people in the face." I don't know. If you've been following it, what do you think about it? Hi, Sarah. I see it's Sarah's birthday today. Happy birthday. And Amanda and Lisa and Lori. There's so many of you. How fun. Hi, Natasha and Neil. Hello, Neil. Hi, Mr. Ranger Lab. Nice to see you. Hi, Julie. And hi, Gary. Hello. So this is a different kind of video today. Heather should do a few Heather Talks Hockey Lives. Really? You think so? Yes. I was like, I'm going to do other topics now. They don't always have to be like serious, really deep lives. Could just be hockey. And I could like write out a little script for myself about like the exciting things that have happened in like the PWHL or the NHL, things that I find interesting. And we could just talk about hockey. I think that's a great idea. Great idea. This is a video on well-known, controversial, self-help spiritual guru named Teal Swan. Okay, and she has a darker side to her, a very cult-like side to her that we're not going to be explicitly talking about in this video. I spent a lot of time thinking about exactly what I would be comfortable talking about and what I wanted to cover and what I didn't want to cover. And I think I landed on something that was like relatively friendly for the majority of people, but there's still trigger warnings for this video. The most significant area of this video is trauma, because the one class we're going to talk about from Teal is about overcoming trauma. So if you don't want to hear any mention of trauma, then please don't watch this video. And there's also reference to abuse and unaliving as well. So if you don't want to hear anything about that, please skip this video. I also listed an article in the description that has a big trigger warning for unaliving in that. But if you want to learn about the darker, more harmful side and maybe how her practices could translate into like impacting people's lives, then feel free to read that video, or read that article, but just heed the trigger warning. And please exit out. This is what I put together, I think is pretty tame. It's pretty tame, but if you don't want to listen to any of this, feel free just to exit out. Hockey's super serious. Super, super serious. No problem, Lori. Thank you so much for saying hello, and we'll see you next time, okay? Have a great weekend and enjoy your evening. Hello, Sina. Nice to see you. Please see the trigger warnings in the title of this video and see if you're comfortable listening to this video. Yeah, and I'll just make sure I refer people to the title when they come in, just so they know what they're getting into. And yeah, if you need to bow out, please just like take care of yourself and bow out. There's nothing wrong. And I've missed trigger warnings a few times, and I just want to make sure I'm being like extra cautious. So I think we're ready to go. This is Teal Swan. Okay. Teal Swan's mission is the transformation of human suffering to an empowered and authentic life. She is the creator of the popular Ask Teal series, YouTube series, author of 6 internationally published books, and the artist of hundreds of frequency paintings. In conjunction with her vision of creating positive world change, Teal Swan founded Headway Foundation, a nonprofit company that enables ideas, goals, and ventures that are aimed at positive world change. Okay, Cena knows about Teal. Okay, that's good. And I'm not covering anything super dark in this, so it's like pretty tame. I just wanted to be careful. Teal Swan was born in Santa Fe, Mexico on June 16th, 1984 at 7:42 a.m. Apparently, she was born with a range of extrasensory abilities. Who knows what extrasensory abilities means? Maybe it's a way to make herself seem more special in the eyes of her followers. It was because of these abilities that she'd ended up being targeted to become a victim of abuse. In her own words, without the abuse and suffering I experienced, I would be someone who could give you a lot of esoteric information about the universe at large, but who would have no real grasp on the reality of human suffering or how to deal with it. I would have only had one half of the picture of human existence. The gift of my own suffering is that I now have the full picture, and that has drastically changed both what I teach and the way I teach. Teal Swan does not have any background in mental health and psychology and counseling. One second, I need a drink already. And similarly to a friend of the channel's Danielle Ryan's videos, where she says, just because, say, you have autism or ADHD doesn't mean we should be teaching those who have autism or ADHD to function and live a more fulfilled life. Just because Teal Swan claims to have suffered in her childhood, that does not mean that she is equipped and knowledgeable enough to help people through extreme trauma and suffering. Teal is not recommended for those who simply want to feel good. She's recommended for those who want the truth, even if the truth hurts. The reality is impartial. It isn't personal. It simply shows you what is so. Okay, none of this means anything. She will reflect things about humanity, the world, and the universe that humanity perceives to be positive. But she will also reflect things about humanity, the world, and the universe that humanity does not want to accept, own, or integrate. When a person decides they are ready to see the truth and to see reality, Teal Swan is able to reflect the physical and non-physical reality of any given situation. By facing the truth and facing reality, they are then empowered to take mental, emotional, and physical steps towards improvement based on the new awareness that they gained. So far, I'm not quite sure what she is trying to sell us, because she has suffered in her life. She has the wisdom and the humanity to help others through their immense suffering as well. But there is a reason that mental health professionals have to go through such rigorous training and education, which we will talk about at the end. That's going to wrap it all up to show what you actually need to become a therapist, at least in Canada. And just to show that, in my opinion, it's not safe for someone who doesn't have the actual background to be trying to help people through trauma, which we are going to look at after we look at this page. In other words, she's full of caca. Exactly. To generalize, the field of spirituality and self-help can be divided into two camps. The first is the practice of spirituality and self-help in order to experience comfort and relief. The second is the practice of spirituality and self-help in order to become aware and awaken. People who fit into the first camp want to feel good. They see the knowledge and practices available in the spiritual and self-help field as a way to feel good. People who fit into the second camp want to know what is true. They understand that knowing the truth will enable them to make changes that will lead to feeling better. But they want to know the truth even if what they come to find out makes them feel really uncomfortable. It's a classic red pill. It's a classic Matrix blue pill or red pill scenario. Okay, but she's going to help us see the truth so we become truly, what did she say? Truly aware and awakened in life. But what happens if someone's journey to seeking the truth for their trauma or their mental health struggles leads them down like a potential crisis path. And you, as a non mental health professional, do not have the resources to ensure people are safe if digging into a trauma before they're ready puts them in a dangerous situation. Like, Teal, how are you able to help people through that journey? I'm really not wanting to read this whole okay, we're almost done. I just wanted to read the introduction, but it feels really long reading it out loud. Your only access of power and choice is to be in reality and to see the truth. And all this being said, a person has to want to see the truth. You can't make someone want to see the truth. And so, one of the most important things you can do is to really decide honestly what your actual motive for practicing spirituality and self help is. Not all truth is painful. The desire for pain relief and the desire for healing often takes you in drastically opposite directions. Teal Swan is a teacher who caters to the second camp. People who want to see the truth, no matter how comfortable that may be, so as to awaken. To put it simply, Teal Swan is the red pill. Isn't red pill something I should know this? What is the red pill reference? Red pill. What does being red pilled mean? Okay, according to this, the concept of red and blue pills has since been widely used as a political metaphor in the United States. Taking the red pill or being red pilled means being aware of the political biases inherent in society. I don't think that's what she means. Red pill matrix. Does anyone know the reference to the red pill matrix? Like, how exactly did she say it? How exactly did she? Teal Swan is the red pill. Like, I don't really understand that. Do you guys understand? Hi, Linnea. Red pill is okay. The red pill helps us wake up to see the truth. Is that what that is? Yes. I feel like I've seen that before with like Andrew Tate, right? Yeah, I've seen that because I was watching like a documentary type video on what was her name? I don't remember, but it was a reference to red pill, and I thought it was connected to that too, but I don't know. But yeah, maybe Teal will help us wake up and see the truth in our lives and help us awaken to the world around us. Maybe that's what that means. Teal Swan's deepest intention is to set people free. Her mission is to make people aware and conscious so with that awareness they can begin to heal and live deeply meaningful, integrated, and empowered lives. She travels the world teaching people the truth of the universe, helping people to see the truth of themselves, and teaching them how to transform their emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual pain. Okay, red pill equals truth. Definitely taken over by extremes for sure, but it's been twisted. Oh, like red pill's been twisted. Or did the manosphere twist red pill meaning? So far, we are experiencing emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual pain because we are not in the second camp of self help people who want to know the truth and want to get to the root of their trauma. We are currently in the first camp who just want to feel good and feel happy. But with Teal, she will help us understand the full truth of our trauma and of our issues, and she can help us live an empowered life, apparently. So, what was in the shop? There's one other thing on here that I wanted to look at. Okay, we're not going to look at all these courses because I want to look at the main one. But here is Self-Love Online Course, regular 77 or only $77, regular $199. So you'll see her courses here. There's one for ancestral healing, relationship fault, connection process masterclass, self-love e-course, how to thrive in a crisis e-course. That one, healing from sexual abuse e-course, meditations vault, and then just course access. So you see there's a lot in here, ranging from relationships all the way to crisis situations. And again, therapists study to know how to guide people through trauma. They study theories and practices to figure out how to help people overcome relationship struggles. We're going to look at it later. It's a lot of work, a lot of study to be a therapist, at least in Canada. I asked my counselor what he thought about spiritual gurus giving mental health advice to people experiencing really deep issues. And he's saying not only, because first I said, I think it's unethical because you've studied, you went through undergrad, you went through grad school, you did your practicum hours, you had supervision, you've had thousands of hours with clients, you do your continuing education hours or whatever the requirements as well. And he said, yes, and I'm also held accountable by a board. What is it? Yeah, like Board of Social Workers. Ontario has the Board of Social Workers. Every province has a board that therapists, social workers are accountable to, and therapists, social workers, psychologists in different provinces across Canada can't just say whatever they want. They can't because they could get in trouble, right? But people like Teal Swan who claim to be experts in everything to do with mental health, they are not held accountable by anyone, and they can say anything they want. They can really say anything they want, and that's dangerous. I'm going to take my camera off just for a second so my connection can improve. So next, we're going to look at something called the completion process, which is going to be the main focus of the rest of this video. And this is the one where we are going to learn how to overcome trauma, heal our core traumas, figure out our emotional triggers, and so on. And there's nothing like super specific in this, but the rest of the video is going to be about trauma. So at this point, if you don't want to hear a broad discussion, but still a discussion about trauma, then you can just skip this. But yeah, like that's what the rest of this video is going to be about. Yay, hello. I'm glad you like it. We're going to go into her completion process course. As far as I'm aware, lots of groups have taken the term red pill to mean waking up to the woke agenda or feminism, or basically whatever they're pushing, in my opinion. I'm glad you guys know, because I read that and I was like, I have no idea. I don't know what red pill means. But yeah, I have. Okay, we're at the right spot. Okay. I'm just going to zoom in so I can actually read this, and then I'll share the screen. Share this tab instead. And it's nice to see you. I feel like I've said your name before, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Is it Lynette? Can you correct me, please, so I can say your name properly? Let me have a drink. So this is zoomed in, so it doesn't actually look like this. This is one of Teal Swan's main attractions. We're going to read the 18 steps of the process, and then you can actually apply to be a completion process practitioner for an exorbitantly high price. And the people who are practitioners are not required to be mental health professionals in any capacity. Okay, let's go. The completion process is a comprehensive approach to healing core traumas that recur as emotional triggers that prevent us from living empowered lives free of fear. The completion process is an 18-step visualization that walks you through an emotional trigger, following the emotion to the earliest memory, then resolving the child's needs through both the mental and visualization of resolution, and providing awareness through the adult perspectives of the events occurred. What happens when you bring someone to the earliest emotional trigger connected to the memory and they go downhill and have a breakdown, and you or any of your practitioners are not qualified to help them through that breakdown like a therapist, a psychologist would be. Create a safe haven. We set up a safe haven, safe place in our mind, and we also create as primary safe support figure. This has to be done only once, unless you wish to create a different kind of place at another time. So I was thinking with this one, I wanted to look at reviews of people who've been in the completion process, like good ones and also bad ones. But then my husband was saying, like, if you're going to look at people who are like cult-ish figures, which I definitely want to do, maybe I should be keeping the information to like official sources, because I don't know if Teal would be like sue happy. I don't know if someone would want to like sue such a miniature channel, but just to be safe. So we're not going to look at anything connected to like Reddit or news. Okay, it's Linote. Okay, thank you, Linote. I appreciate that. Thank you for telling me. Hello, Julie. How's it going? Please read the trigger warning in the title. And we're talking about a course to overcome trauma. So if you don't want to hear talks about trauma, then please feel free to jump out anytime you need to. Emotional vipassana. What in the world does that mean? Yes, keep yourself safe. Exactly. Thank you. We practice emotional vipassana in order to explore the feeling or trigger. When we have a strong, uncomfortable emotion or feeling in the present, we close our eyes and sink into the feeling. We familiarize ourselves with the unique sensations or feeling flavor of the feeling. We are unconditionally with that feeling, experiencing and observing it without needing it to change. After a time, we see if we can name the feeling. We can do this with ourselves regardless of whether there's a particular feeling present. It is simply. What is it simply? Okay, and being able to name a feeling, a negative feeling, is not something that can happen really quickly. In my experience, it takes a lot of reflection, a lot of working with a therapist, a lot of having an open mind and being open with your feelings to actually name your feelings, understand why you're feeling it, be aware and present with how your body is reacting to a certain feeling. I just think this process here needs to be with a mental health professional, right? That's a professional should be doing this stuff with us. Validate the present feeling. We give the emotion or feeling the message that we are completely with it, that we see it as valid, that we care about it, and that we are ready and want to know what it has to say. We are open to fully receiving it. Invite the memory to the surface. We use the sensations of the feeling flavor like a rope connecting us to the origin or causation of that very feeling. We ask, when was the first time I felt this feeling? And instead of mentally chasing the answer, we let our being offer it up to us like a bubble floating up from the depths of the ocean in whatever form it comes. I feel like I'm going to say the same thing over and over again. Do you have mental health professionals ready and waiting, like in the corners of the room, to make sure people are mentally, emotionally safe throughout this entire process? Because if you don't, it could potentially be extremely dangerous. And I found a really good article that it was explaining why it was potentially, this is a dangerous process, but it's gone from the internet. I can't find it. I typed in the exact link into Google News to find it. It wasn't there. I went to the actual website, like the news outlet's website, and I couldn't find it. But it was a really, really good article. Hi, Rosie. Hello. How's it going? Nice to see you. We're talking about trauma here, a Teal Swan trauma course. Re-experience the memory. If or when a memory surfaces, we observe and experience the memory in whatever way it comes to us. We take time to be present with the intensity of the feeling of the memory. We emotionally re-experience it. Exactly, another potentially really dangerous experience to do without a therapist. You validate the feeling within the memory. We give the emotion in the past, same as we did when it was present tense, the message that we are completely with it. Did we already read this? I feel like we read that already. Yeah, yeah. So now step 3 is validating the present feeling, and then validate the feeling within the memory. That's the same. That's literally the same thing, Swan. Step into adult perspective within the memory. When we feel ready, we step out of the perspective we are currently in within the memory and step into the perspective of our current adult self within the memory. In other words, we move from passively witnessing the memory to active visualization. Okay? Validate the child's emotions. We comfort and show affection. We comfort and show affection and unconditional focused presence to our child's self in the scene with one prerogative in mind: validation of the child's emotions. We give the child the message that it is right and okay to feel how they feel, and we give the child the permission to fully feel how they feel. Okay? Await relief. We wait for the child self in the scene to naturally move in the direction of relief. Call back other fractured aspects of self. We call back other fractured aspects of the self that are present in that one scene and lovingly merge them into the core child self. So we're only dealing with one child self. Oh, fair. No problem, Tori. Thank you for doing what's best for you and saying hello. And yes, have a great evening. I really appreciated seeing you, and I'll see you at the next stream. You have a good night too. Bye. No worries, Tori. No worries. That's why I put trigger warnings in the title so people were aware of it when they came in and then they can make a good decision. So no worries. I also have feelings about Swan too. So then we have to meet the child's needs within the memory. We have a choice to stay or go. When a feeling of relief has occurred as a result of taking action to change the circumstances in the memory, we give the child the choice to stay in the memory or visualization or to come to the safe haven. Then we check for completion. If the child chooses to stay, we ask the child why he or she wishes to stay. We respond accordingly, and we repeat steps 10 through 12 if necessary before bringing the process to a close. Enter safe haven and deactivate the memory. Create purification and healing. Oh my goodness. Place the child in the healing water. Bathe him or her as purifying and healing ritual for entering into the safe haven. She makes it seem so easy, and I feel like this number 15 step makes someone feel like if they're going through something really serious and really deep, like something from childhood or something traumatic that recently happened, that, okay, well, I just need to do this process and then I'm going to be healed. And then how many people who are getting the process being done will just say, yeah, I'm healed, because they're just so excited to be like nearby Teal if she is actually like running the process, or they're just so excited to be taking one of her courses that they say, oh yeah, I'm healed now, and then they go home and they realize they're not healed. Yes, and on any disorders that could impact someone's reaction to stress and trauma in their lives, that may make a process like this really dangerous and stressful, because I feel like to be sharing, to be talking about mental health is a really deep and personal thing. And there's a reason why mental health professionals go through so much schooling and have so much professional development requirements that they have to do, they have to keep on top of, is because when you are responsible for someone's mental health, when like what you say as a professional has such a big impact on someone, you need to know what you're talking about. You need to understand how different conditions and different disorders impacts people's functioning in day-to-day life. And a true mental health professional with education and background would not say, "Oh yeah, you can heal your trauma in just an afternoon, in just a day." No, you it's years. It's like a lifetime journey, and for some people, they're never done, and I just feel like it's dangerous to say, "I'm gonna heal your traumas," if you just come to this course, because how are people going to feel if they go through this process with Teal, with the other practitioners, they are just, like, wrapped up in the moment and the adrenaline, they think they're healed, and then they go home and they realize they're not. And then how is that going to make them feel? Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, you could wind up in such a dark place, especially if you've never addressed a traumatic issue before. I agree with you that it's dangerous. Exactly. The group makes you feel bad if you don't agree with them. Yeah, what like if this I'm not sure if this is like a group process, but say if it's just like one-on-one, you don't really know the practitioner, you don't know them, but you want to please them because they have a direct connection to Teal. Are you just going to say, "Yes, I'm healed," and then realize you're not? And then, like Lisa just said, you go home and you feel worse? Yes, Linnea, exactly. I think we would all like if trauma could be healed in an afternoon. I know that I would find that pretty awesome. Instead, that's not how it works. Exactly. Exactly. I'm glad you guys agree. Oh, meet the child's needs within the safe haven. Option to stay or merge. The child is given the choice to stay in the safe haven or to rejoin and merge with the adult perspective. And apparently, this is the end. Return to conscious perspective. We return to conscious perspective, taking at least a few deep breaths as we bring our consciousness back to real time. We gently take time to reacclimate to the sharpness of our surroundings and the new level of integration and presence we feel we need to be. Is that it, Teal? Is that it? The completion process. Teal I. She's in Las Vegas, Nevada. So here she does give some actual resources if you're experiencing a mental health crisis, which I do appreciate. The completion process should not be used in place of medical, psychological, or psychiatric advice. Although we are in the process of clinical trials, the process is not yet peer reviewed. I wonder in practice, are you also, sorry, it's dark, but like my eyes hurt. Let's see if I can turn it on and just like, is that better? Yeah, that's better. Okay, we'll just have the lights on very faintly. I wonder if she tells people who are in her completion process course to also seek medical attention, because I doubt that's the case. I know she's had some documentaries on like Netflix or Amazon Prime. If you've seen those documentaries, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I would love to. Hello, how's it going? So, the part that I found the most interesting, no, that's not it. Let me stop sharing for a second because there's a whole part where you apply to be a practitioner, like a completion process practitioner. This is it. This is it. Oh, hi, Sherry. Sorry, I pressed your comment and then I didn't say anything. Okay, application. Yeah, this is what I wanted. So, Sherry, we're talking about Teal Swan's completion process course, where she claims to be able to help us through trauma. We just reviewed the steps in her completion process, and now we can apply to be a completion process practitioner and help others through their traumas. Wow, for only $5,555. The next completion process training is Costa Rica Summer 2024. Please apply only if you are able to attend the training on the listed date and can commit to the $5,555 course fee before the training begins. This 2024, Teal Swan and our team have designed a new and improved C completion process training that is now 6 days of training rather than only 4 days. Oh, you're gonna watch the documentary? Cool. I hope it's okay. Yeah, $5,000 for 6 weeks or 6 days, for 6 days. Yeah, isn't that outrageous? Okay. The completion process is a comprehensive approach to healing current traumas. We already read this. It's an 18-step visualization. We already read that. This is a technique that goes to the core of all problems, where suffering begins in our lives. This process unhooks us from these past experiences and integrates our fractured aspects, huh? Rejoining us with our present day self. Okay. The completion process training is for those who are wanting to learn how to utilize this process to help others. It is for those who are ready to hold space for, contain, and help others process intense emotions. It requires a high degree of bravery and strength. This training includes deeper insights into not only the completion process, but also trauma, emotions, attunement, and resistance in the context of helping other people. It is for those who are wanting and ready to face the aspect of themselves that could prevent them from being a safe facilitator for other people. Because we hold our practitioners to a very high standard, not everyone who attends our training passes. I have a question. Anyone who might be a mental health professional in the chat, is there any kind of training or guidance one has to like separate themselves from what they're hearing their client tell them? Because what if you have, like, as a therapist, I'm sure you go through like 4 or 5 clients in a row and you might be hearing some really deep, scary things, and you have to be able to, like, okay, I just heard client A. I need to compartmentalize and put their really scary, traumatic thing they told me over here. And now I need to focus on client B. And you could just like separate yourself from what you've heard, right? But I don't know if the people who are in this training will be able to properly like separate themselves from this process of helping people through really traumatic and scary emotions. I'm not sure. I don't think they would have that skill, right? Okay, so Rosie is trained to be a psychotherapist, and yes, we covered that in some of our classes. Okay, so like disconnecting yourself from potentially like the scary things that your clients tell you. Is that what you mean? Okay, that's good to know, because I feel like that would be a big thing for a therapist to do, and to also not take that home with you and have the stories of your clients impact your day-to-day life. I could also see someone who becomes a practitioner and they themselves have some unresolved trauma really getting triggered by something a client is talking about and not able to help them. And not being able to help them. I can't read, but you're right. That's a great point. I think they have to see professionals themselves also. Does she have sources or case studies? Nope. No, she doesn't. Really great question. The training is not for those who are wanting to experience healing as their primary focus. If you are seeking a personal healing experience, the Curveball Retreat would be a better fit for you. I feel like her retreats, like each separate retreat could be a whole video on its own, because the curveball retreat's an interesting one too. And then she has other events that she like takes all around the US and Canada that could also be a whole video on its own. Although professional credentials in psychology, counseling, and therapy are preferred, it is not a requirement. It should be a requirement when you're mucking about in people's brains, ma'am. We are also seeking practitioners who have established practices and or are seeking to help others with their healing journey. She doesn't have sources. That's her whole thing. It's just based on her vibes and her experience going through trauma and abuse herself, right? If you aren't able to make it to this particular training, sign up for a newsletter here to stay tuned, as we'll update everyone when new trainings are introduced. Below, we have some information regarding the application process and materials. And you're not certified. I don't like that, because what if someone's like, oh, I'm certified in the completion process? And then could someone think that they're actually a mental health professional? But Being certified in the completion process is not the same thing going through years and years of school and hundreds of hours and thousands of hours of sitting with clients, helping them through traumatic events in their lives. You can't compare it. Besides the materials below, trainees should work with the aspect of themselves that doesn't want to help people. This is often an aspect of yourself that gets bulldozed during trainings, and by working with and allowing this aspect space, you can release resistance. What in the fuck does that mean? I need Tylenol. This make my brain hurt, man. So she has a completion process book as well. Sorry. Break time. Okay. So you need to read her book called The Completion Process Book. You need to read or watch the completion process video. And you need to complete one completion process session with a certified practitioner before your arrival. And you can find practitioners here. My question, how long is this taking? Is this 5 hours? Is this 2 hours? Even 1 day is not enough. Even if it's more than a couple of hours. Because a true mental health professional will tell you it can take people years. It can take people their entire lives. Okay, yeah, so we'll skim through this, and then I want to show you guys how you apply to be a completion process practitioner. Okay, do we really need to read this? Training includes 25 to 35 participants. Currently, our trainings at this time are only conducted in English. All applications are carefully read and reviewed by Teal, Swan, and Teal staff. What in the fuck is Teal? Is that like her company, maybe? Teal. That sounds kind of culty. What do you think? Okay, Teal is just the company. Okay, but that's a weird ass thing. Teal. I don't know why that's weird. Several weeks before the training, offers will be spent. Respondents are chosen on a first come, first served basis. How much are they paid per completion process session? Do they get an hourly rate? Do they get like a certain like honorarium? How much does Teal Swan get from each of the sessions? Because she apparently like created this herself. I have a lot of questions. Only 14% of the applicants typically are offered a spot. Only 14%. So you have to get in fast. You have to have the best application possible, or else you're not going to get paid. Tuition includes course materials, accommodations, and meals. 6 days of closed session training. So 6 days, we pay $5,555. We get meals, we get accommodations, which is nice, but we don't get flights. So we are missing out on work. We have 6 days away from our children and our families and our friends. Would be fun to go to a new country, but I'm not going to go to Costa Rica to do training with some woman who has no business giving me mental health training. Okay, we'll read this. Practitioners of the completion process are upstanding, responsible individuals. Many of them have overcome great adversity and trauma in their own lives, which is why they have devoted themselves to this practice. Our practitioners have high standards of ethics and conduct with the American Counseling Association Code of Ethics. Well, that's great, but as they're not counselors, they don't have to follow any rules. They're not held accountable by anybody except you. So it doesn't matter if their ethics are in conduct with something. They are men and women of integrity who do not seek to fix people, but rather help support individuals to a natural state of health, which is their inherent state of being. Our practitioners are ambitious. Many of them own and operate their own business dedicated to helping people. Some are clinicians of both Western and Eastern medicine. Some are humanitarians traveling the world offering aid and support where they are needed. They come from different backgrounds across all platforms, including gender, sex, orientation, We're looking for diversity, experience, and courage. Applications that are complete and contain thoughtfully created sentences are always weighed with priority. So, this is how you apply to be a completion process practitioner. There's not much going on yet. Why do you want to be certified as a practitioner of the completion process? Please explain what aspects of the completion process resonate with you the most and why. Have you had experience with the process? So you are telling us to make carefully written sentences so we can be considered, but your questions so far, Teal, are not that brilliant. Wow, these 3 goals you have from becoming certified. What does your current living situation support structure look like? Live alone, live with friends and roommates, live with partner, live with parents. Why does that matter? Why does that matter? I wonder. That's a little strange. Do you feel emotionally safe in your current living situation? Just like Lisa said, maybe these people are going through traumatic events as well. They have underlying mental health challenges that they need addressed by a professional. And instead of her encouraging them to seek a professional, she's saying, oh, since you're going through something, you can help others who are going through something too. Why do you care if I'm emotionally safe? Why do you care who I live with? If this is an employment environment, you should not care who I live with. Oh my gosh. Please select any relevant credentials you hold. So, life coaching, that's not credential, man. Social worker, counseling or psychology, clinical psychology, physician psychiatrist, member of the clergy, specify in other box, none. But these aren't relevant either. A member of the clergy is not qualified to be like helping me through trauma. A doctor isn't even necessarily qualified to be helping me through trauma unless they studied it, unless they have a background in it. Right, Linnea? Right? Oh, energy healer. Because being a woo woo energy healer means I'm qualified to help people through trauma. Do you plan on utilizing the completion process just on myself, friends, and family, and clients through a coaching, consulting, spiritual business, on patients and clients through my mental health, healthcare, business/organization? Bye. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night. You will be required to go through one completion process session before coming. You can find practitioners through blank. The living situation sounds like if I start a cult, who is most likely to keep you away from my commune? Exactly. And yeah, you mean this one. Yeah. Like, do you have someone you live with who will talk sense to you and tell you not to waste all your money going to Costa Rica with a woman you don't know, pretending you could be a mental health practitioner when you're not? And then what the fuck is this? So this is like, oh, who can I manipulate emotionally and spiritually to keep them in my group for as long as possible? And I have a question. Once we're qualified to be a completion process practitioner, how do we have to pay? Do we have to do extra courses? How much do we pay, Teal, per year to be qualified? How much? I already said this, but when we do a process for someone, is it through Teal? Like, is Teal going to help us get clients? And then do we get a portion of that fee? Or do we just go off and do it ourselves? And then Teal's not connected to that. But I feel like if Teal is not connected to it in some way, why would she go through this whole process of not only creating her process, but also teaching it as well? I want to know the finances. I want to know how that works. Definitely. And so, say I do a completion process, and then I am a practitioner, and I'm doing the process on other people, and one of them want to become a practitioner as well, right? From one of the people that I did a process on. I have a question. Do I get compensated for it? Is this like our own spiritual guru slash cult MLM, right? Do I get compensated when my recruit also becomes a practitioner? Sina, that's a great question. Great point. So we're almost done. I want to show you why you all agree. You all agree with me so far, but I want to show you why I think this is dangerous. I found this. Let me see. I just want to see what. Sorry, friends. Because, yeah, okay. This is an online university. Okay. I thought so, but I wanted to confirm before I shared. So, this is How to Become a Therapist in Canada Step-by-Step Guide from an online university. And I want to show you what people go through in Canada to be a mental health therapist. So, no, I was just speculating. I was just wondering because I was wondering about the financial aspect of it, if they get paid, if Teal gets paid. And then I was like, do we get compensated when people that we've done the process on want to be a practitioner themselves, right? So, no, I was just having fun. I was just speculating. Right? So, it's not disappeared anyone yet that we know of. Okay. So, the American Psychological Association defines a therapist as an individual who has been trained in and practices one or more types of therapy to treat mental or physical disorders or diseases. They help individuals, families, couples, and families address emotional, psychological, and behavioral issues to improve their overall well being. Great. Let's zoom in a bit more. What is the difference between a therapist, a psychologist, and a psychiatrist? I'm in Canada. It's not exact. Right? Right, Rosie? Right? I've known people who they like study for 1,000 years, and then they like have to do a shit pile of like practicum hours, and then they have someone supervising them, and it just goes on and on and on forever. Just goes on and on. And yeah, the training to become a practitioner is only 5 days, but I still wonder how long the actual process itself is, and how long Teal claims it takes for us to heal our trauma, right? Can you imagine if it was actually a referral service and like I get paid for anyone who I do the process on signing up, right? That would be so interesting. Exactly. It's hundreds of hours. Okay, a psychiatrist has a medical degree, and can diagnose clients with mental illnesses and prescribe medications. A psychologist, on the other hand, has a degree in psychology and can diagnose mental health issues but cannot prescribe medication. A therapist does not diagnose or prescribe medication but primarily uses talk therapy to help with mental health issues. Great. And Rosie, since you're going through this process now, I just found this, like I just Googled it. If this is inaccurate at all, if there's anything missing, anything you want to add, please let us know. I'd love to hear it. So the first step, you need to choose a specialization. Some of the areas include addiction, crisis and trauma, couple and family, and child therapy. You obtain a bachelor's degree. Your educational journey starts with a 4-year equivalent bachelor's degree in psychology, counseling, or other related disciplines. Ensure that the program you choose, aligns with the educational requirements of the regulatory body in your province. Oh, yeah, true. Okay, good. Just let me know, because I spent like 10 minutes looking for this. I did not do extensive research. Pursue higher education. Talking of educational requirements, many, if not all, regulatory bodies list completing a master's degree or doctorate in your chosen therapy specialization as one of the licensure prerequisites. Some programs, like the Master in Counseling Psychology at Yorkville University, allows you to fulfill the educational requirements of more than one provincial regulatory body. So it looks like you need like master's, at least a master's degree. And then you need clinical experience. When it comes to a career as a therapist, skills make practice perfect. You have acquired a lot of knowledge through your degrees. Now it is time to put them to practice in a supervised clinical setting. Some universities offer a robust practicum as part of their programs, which is great advantage over others that do not. What if your program does not offer a practicum? You still have options. You can take up volunteering opportunities in mental health organizations. Then you have to obtain licensure, that's a hard word, or registration. Yes, if you want to read about that, I have that in my description, and I have a pretty intense trigger warning right before it because it's pretty intense. But yes, I read that. I was like, do I want to talk about that here? I wasn't sure, so I was like, I'll just put it in the description. Yes, exactly. It's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah, she says it's not her fault and that we all have control and autonomy over our own actions, and she is not acknowledging the extreme influence she has over people. Then you have to continue professional development. The field of mental health is ever evolving, and it is important to maintain professional currency to ensure long-term growth and efficiency of practice. You can do this by staying updated on research and practices through workshops, professional conferences, and additional certification. Is that it? Okay, yeah, sorry. You obtain a bachelor's degree, higher education, clinical experience, get licensed and register in your province, and continually do professional development. Okay, that's a long ass process. That's going to take you years and years and years. How to become a practicing therapist in Ontario. You need to complete a master's degree in psychotherapy or related field, undergo supervised experience, pass the College of Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario's examination. I can't talk, I'm sorry. In BC, complete a master's degree in counseling or related field, undergo 100 hours of clinical supervision, successfully complete the British Columbia Association of Clinical Counselors examination. Yes, that is in my description. That's the one in my description. I thought it explained it really well. Went into a lot of detail about the undue influence that I think Teal has over her audience, how they see her as like a godly presence, that she's like not human, she's above them, and they'll listen to anything that she says. It's a good article, but potentially triggering. I'll just add, without my master's, since I don't have it yet, I can work as a coach in the modalities in which I am trained. But the people sort of ruined that word, really. Like a coach. Interesting. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Thank you. How to become a therapist in New Brunswick. A master's degree, supervised experience, complete the College of Licensed Counseling Therapists of New Brunswick examination. And then here is the 6-step journey. We already went through that. And then you can earn an MA in counseling psychology without putting your life on pause. Earn your degree in as few as 2.5 years. Balance your education with life's demand. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so the point of this, I just wanted to use this to wrap up to show how dangerous it is for people who have not devoted their educational careers, educational lives on studying different mental health conditions, on studying how to help people through the most traumatic and serious times of their lives, and how someone who just claims to be an expert because they went through a traumatic experience in their childhood does not mean that they're qualified to be helping people through trauma as an adult, in my opinion. Okay. I've been a DBT coach before, for example, and that I can work one-on-one with someone on how the skills would apply to their life, but it's not the same as therapy, although it is similar. How interesting. That's so interesting. Cool, Rosie. Cool. So let me see if I kind of just want to look at the kinds of videos she has. We're not going to watch anything at all, but I just want to see. I wasn't planning this. I just want to see if there's like anything super. Did you guys hear that? Sorry. Okay. We can look at this. Share this tab. So here's her YouTube channel. She has 1.82 million subscribers. The dark truth about long-term relationships. How to create repair in a relationship. How to do the emotional experiencing process. The link between anger and vulnerability. So she's claiming to be an expert in trauma, an expert in self-esteem and self-love, an expert in relationships, even though people study and specialize in relationship therapy to help people through relationship struggles. Stop negative behavior, the importance of ancestral healing. She has a whole course on ancestral healing. The codependent flip pattern. What happens when you die? The femininity hack. Find your purpose in 14 minutes. Really. What you need to know before trying polyamory. Have you done polyamory, Pearl? No, not Pearl. Teal? Have you done it? That seems weird. So she's also an expert in polyamory, too. Abandonment issues. Sexuality issues. So she's just an expert in everything, apparently. I'm not sure how that happens. Let's see her most popular videos from 10 years ago. How to activate and open your third eye. How to raise your frequency and increase your vibration. How to heal the emotional body. What every woman should know about men. Fuck the law of attraction. How to stop caring what other people think. How to use your intuition. Why you're attracted to the people you're attracted to. Psychic vampires. Isn't what happens when you die a pretty specific belief based on a lot of differing factors? Traumatized people trying to counsel traumatized people without a trauma-informed professional leads to the type of chaos injecting the anti-Scientology community right now. That was a very well put thought. Why I was even wanting to do this video in the first place, because I know it's not realistic for every therapist out there to be completely mentally healthy themselves, to have no challenges, no issues in any area of their life. But you would assume, at least you would hope, that a therapist would be well aware of their issues, be trying to work towards healing or living with their issues in a productive and healthy manner, and therefore they're actively working on healing and improving themselves so they can help someone else work on improving and healing themselves as well. But when you have someone who's not trained in mental health, who is most likely not seeking mental health help, and they're also going to help other people who have gone through trauma and are not seeking help. Yeah, it's just chaos, and it's potentially extremely dangerous because you're going to be having just re-traumatized people everywhere. And then Teal does not have the resources and the knowledge to actually help us through it. This is so well known that there's a word for this when it happens in the counseling space. What's the word? What's the word, Rosie? If you make enough vegan-free word salad, you will eventually appear to know everything. Wow. Vegan-free. That was so funny. It's nice to see you, William. Thank you for joining. And that concept has been around for over a century. Did I miss it when you said the concept? I want to know the concept. Can you tell us the concept? I would expect a therapist to be fairly mentally well. Not perfect though. No one is. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, they're not going to be perfect. No one is. But they're going to have the knowledge and the tools to know when they need to maybe seek help themselves, right? They're going to be more mentally aware of things that are going on in their lives and more likely to know when to seek help, right? Very specific cult trauma training, incest training, religious abuse training. What's that in related to, Julie? Oh, Julie, I thought that was what. I thought this comment was from Rosie. Now I'm all confused. I'm all confused now. So Rosie. Okay. The client. Okay. When the client is triggered by the counselor, that's transference. When the counselor is triggered by the client, which can happen, that's countertransference. Interesting. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you for that. Sorry I got confused. I was confusing Julie for Rosie, and I just didn't understand what I was saying, and I got confused. Got you. So, Julie, this is in reference to your Scientology comment, right, Julie? Okay. It's all coming together now, guys. I'm understanding. Sorry. Is water vegan free? That was funny. Literally vegan free, Julie. Hello. Hi, Kirsten. I'm late, but Teal Swan gives me such an ick. I'm glad you're looking into her. Thank you. I joined because Teal Swan popped up. Yay. That's awesome. So that's all I have. I wanted to just look at like an introduction of Teal and then her completion process course, the training to become a practitioner, and that's all I wanted to do. And I've talked about why I think it's dangerous 100 times. I don't think I need to say it again. You guys all understand me. This was very, very fun. I'm really glad I did this topic. This took me way longer to prepare than it needed to. I kept changing my mind about what I wanted to talk about the articles I wanted to put in the description. I just went back and forth 100 times, but I like the way it turned out. I think it was a really productive conversation. I want to do more videos like this coming up. I've not thought about a ton of other topics. I was thinking a video on Charles Ponzi and like modern day Ponzi schemes would be quite fun, and other types of scams I saw in my YouTube back office that people found my rental scams video by searching Facebook marketplace scams on YouTube. And so I didn't know that was a thing. So I could also look into that. But I'm very excited to look into other kinds of topics. It's very fun. This is someone I've never heard of. Yay! You're welcome. I learned a lot. Yay! That's great. Oh, yeah, Charles Ponzi for sure. For sure. It would be great. Yeah, that would be a cool stream. I'd love that. Okay, so a counselor should have some resistance to counter-transference. That's the misconception. Oh, I'm learning stuff. The training is how to identify counter-transference when it occurs and how to deal with it, but not to completely avoid it, because that's not always possible, right? Because unrecognized, that's where the danger is. Interesting. Thank you, Sherry. Appreciate that. Awesome. This was fun. What does hockey code say about slapping pucks into empty nets from 2 feet out? What does hockey code say about getting cross-checked across the face at the end of the game and then wondering why you get suspended? My hockey code would say don't cross-check people in the face, but what do I know? I love that comment, Gary. That's hilarious. So, that's all I have. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you at the next stream. Bye.